Students who want to go to college are taking on more and more debt in order to pay for it. The student loan crisis, it is real, it is worsening, and you are about to find out just how severe this phenomenon has become. So the average person in this country with student loan debt now has over $29,000 worth of it looming right over their heads. That is up by $6,000 from just several years ago in 2008. And keep in mind, this is all for a freaking piece of paper, a diploma. And the amount of people that has this enormous cloud of debt has been rapidly expanding. Back in 2008, the amount of people with student loan debt was 29 million Americans. Now it is up to 40 million people. The next ridiculous statistic about student loan debt: the total amount of student loan debt in this country is now worth collectively $1.2 trillion. That number is up 84% from just a few years ago in 2008. And the reason why this is such a dangerous situation is because student loans are different from other credit options. When you talk about credit cards and car loans, and to a much lesser extent mortgages, lenders tend to loan out money with much more selectivity. If you are an 18-year-old with no financial history and no job, but you are trying to get a $30,000 loan for a car or a house, your chances of being approved for that loan are far less than if you are a working adult that always pays their bills on time. However, with student loans, it is a much different animal. Lenders will give anybody who wants to go to college a loan. And the problem with that is that these kids have just become adults. They have no idea how to handle all of this financial pressure. And that is where student loans become even more subprime mortgage crisis just a few years ago that destroyed the economy. Because if they continue giving out these ridiculous amounts of money to just about anybody, all of that money will weigh down the economy and these financial institutions in particular, because that money will not be paid back. And we could see some very, very serious problems. You see, student loans are also special in another way. You can declare bankruptcy on other loans like your mortgage, your car, your credit cards. You can declare bankruptcy when you're throwing in the towel saying, I cannot pay back this debt. Okay, but you cannot do that with student loans. And for many of these kids around the country, that is the backbreaker. Because with absolutely no financial history, the effects of not paying back these loans can be completely disastrous. And to not be able to end that pain is something that is horrible for these kids. So what does a $30,000 cloud of debt do to the average American? Well, it significantly hinders your chances of being able to buy a house, buy a car, or get a credit card. Now, that is 40 million Americans who are now restricted in some way from accessing a major part of this American economy. And that is a serious problem because 1 in 8 people in the country cannot be a part of the marketplace, which, as I mentioned, weighs down the full potential of what the economy can accomplish. And also, if much of that $1.2 trillion ends up not being paid back to these financial institutions that lend out this money in the first place, that is a significant hint to these banks. Trillions of dollars are now down the drain, and we have done multiple videos detailing how if there is just one shakeup in the financial standing of these banks, that is a catastrophe waiting to happen that could topple the economy. Dangerous, dangerous situation. Now, why are kids taking more and more of these student loans? Well, it's obvious. The cost of college keeps going up, up, and up. Tuition and fees for a private nonprofit college was about $10,000 in 1975. Now it is up to $31,000 each year. That is insanity. And it doesn't get much better when you go over to the public side of the equation either. In 1975, the average cost of a public four-year university was $2,500. Now it is up to nearly $10,000 each year. And keep in mind, the average person in this country makes somewhere between $40,000 to $50,000 each year. Do you expect these people to send their son or daughter to college for nearly half of what they make in a year? Heck no. People have to eat, people have to drink, people have lives to live. But what makes this crisis even worse is that more and more jobs each year are requiring you to have this overly priced piece of paper that you get in college. By 2018, 60% of jobs will require you to have at least a college degree. However, for much of the population, these jobs will be completely out of reach. And for those who make the trip to college, they have to have a looming cloud of debt over their heads for years and years to come. This is a crisis that has a very simple fix, though, folks. It's called free college. Yes, 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 I know. Oh, it's not that simple. Yeah, we had to allocate this from this and all these logistics, yada, yada, yada. Look, we spent $7 trillion in an attempt to eradicate the world of terrorism that we largely created and that we made even worse. Over half of our tax dollars go to the military. Can we start there? Just a suggestion. That is automatically trillions of dollars freed up to help millions of kids across the country have a chance. It seems like a worthy cause to me. And the alternative to my plan of cutting the military's funding and reallocating it to more worthy causes of educating our young people is letting the economy eventually collapse under the weight of all of this debt and attempting to pick up the pieces. You choose. Thank you all for listening